So, until the end of 1938, the Poles were regarded as potential allies in a German dominated anti Soviet bloc who would hand back the German lands they were granted at Versailles and voluntarily become a German satellite. Only when the Polish government repeatedly refused the German request for an extraterritorial rail and road link across the Polish corridor and the incorporation of the League run Free City of Danzig back into Germany did Hitler decide to launch against the Poles the small war he had been denied in 1938 and to take Polish resources by force. Poland now contained the extensive former German coal and steel region in Silesia, but also promised wide areas for German settlement and the production of an agricultural surplus to feed the German population. At the meeting on 23 May 1939, when Hitler presented to the military leadership his intentions against Poland, he claimed that Danzig is not the object in this case. For us, it involves rounding off our living space in the East and securing our food supplies. Food supply could only come from the East because it was sparsely populated, continued Hitler. German agricultural proficiency would raise the productivity of the region many times over. An imperial war against Poland, nevertheless, ran the same risks of intervention from the other European powers as the Czech crisis the year before. Hitler might well have accepted a second protectorate solution if the Poles had simply acquiesced to German threats. But at the end of March 1939, against Hitler's expectations, Britain and then France publicly guaranteed Polish sovereignty. While over the summer months the German military campaign was carefully prepared, German diplomacy sought to separate the Poles from their guarantors and the two guarantors from each other, though without success. Propaganda was used to whip up domestic support for a war to protect the Germans living in Poland from alleged Polish atrocities and to supply a pretense for invasion. Since Britain and France would not be moved from their support of Poland, Hitler sought an agreement with the Soviet Union to guarantee that a combined Soviet British French bloc would not obstruct his small war. The Non Aggression Pact, signed on 23 August 1939, was used by Hitler to justify to all around him that the Western states would now no longer dare to intervene, though it has often been argued that Hitler sought a general war in 1939 because the costs of rearmament to a brittle and overstretched economy forced his hand to wage a war against the West before it was too late. Almost all the evidence demonstrates that Hitler wanted a localized war to support the expansion of living space in the East rather than a major conflict with the British and French empires, an end to a decade of empire building rather than a prologue to world war. There were certainly economic motives for seizing more land and resources, but not for waging world war, for which these additional resources would eventually be needed when or if it happened. Hitler's view was that major war should be prepared for only by ni- should be prepared for only by 1942-43 when the armament programs were completed. On 21 August, Hitler authorized the introduction only of limited economic mobilization designed for a local and temporary state of conflict. The order to initiate the full mobilization of the economy was given only after Britain and France had declared war.